I don't send no super chats. We finna do this one for free. You dig? We're gonna do this one for free. For free.
Breaking news. The said some rapper put on social media. Shot at who? Ain't no motherfucker shot at us.
Damn, Denmark shot this too?
I just looked at my wrist, I got time today. Fuck it, I'm crossing the line today. The hate be so real, the love be fake. Be bumping their gums and bumping my tape. Don't go against me, they ask for my help. Go get out your feelings and get it yourself. Might got the same shoes, but you ain't gon' step. That shit that you just put out, you could've kept. Yep, she got a nigga, he got a shirt. You can't compete when you can't compare. She ate the dick through my underwear. Got up and got herself out of there. I see they put me on memes and things. Don't speak on my life without knowing the real. They figures a year what it cost me to live. Don't hold it, just say what you feel, but watch your mouth before I fly your bitch to a place that you didn't know exist. Mediterranean water my wrist. Keeping on peace, how I'm talking my shit. 6-figure check for a show, man, I'm lit. Let's celebrate in my bag legit. These niggas with me with whatever I'm with. Didn't know who did it, got everybody hit. Bitch, I don't like niggas, I don't like bitches, I don't like nobody. We can get gangster, we can keep it cordial, how you want to go by. I don't backtrack, man, fuck that. I don't miss nobody. Left it on scene, I ain't right back. I don't trust nobody. I just looked at my wrist, I got time today. Fuck it, I'm crossing the line today. These bitches will cry and be lying in your face. Look at it enough, gotta know how they play. The money went straight, you won't be here today. Ain't a man, she don't know what to say. You ain't me, so it's hard to relate. How much cash I fuck off every day, big bad. Don't play with me, baby, go play with your pussy. You see them in person, these niggas be shook. $100 it cost you a Quavo, don't book me. I'm worth it, the proof in the pudding. Surrounded by bitches. I'm looking like William, but they ain't my girlfriend. Bro, I'ma spin on your block at the back when they finish it. Look like the world is. I ain't asked for it, they did it to me. What? Niggas exposing their hands for free. Get caught in the middle of this bullseye. You got hit, but we were targeting heat. Popping my shit with a capital P. SRT, red dot, red P. Might be ugly, but my bitch precious. Seen it sneeze, but still I'm blessed. I shoot. I don't like niggas, I don't like bitches, I don't like nobody. We can get gangster, we can keep it cordial. How you wanna go by it? I don't backtrack, man, fuck that. I don't trust nobody. Left it on scene, I ain't right back. I don't trust nobody. I just look at my wrist, I got time today. Fuck it, we crossing the line today. I just look at my wrist, I got time today. Fuck it, we crossing the line today. I just looked at my wrist, I got time today.
Tonight, no bullshit. Only facts. Keep your money, baby.
If you got a problem, I'm pulling up. Strap. Big booty bitch and I'm pulling on. Tracks. I play with the words, I play with the birds. I'm where they at. I'm stating facts, 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 facts. When I'm in the kitchen, no water whipping. Yeah. I used to drown. I do a brick like Jordan was. I cut a zip off.
But right before that,
make up what I'm serving. Let's go to work and
you cut off the fat.
I play with them words.
I play with them birds. Yeah. I'm really that.
Clutching the run when I had a one, increasing my bums.
Fight two hats.
My new A&R threw me in a cross with a couple of rebels.
Maneuver through that.
My other lip popping on 200 pieces of the pressure I'm on, and I got
a new batch.
A lot of these niggas, we ain't no gangster, but I'm presidential, stately fast. If you got a problem, I'm pulling up. Strap. Big booty bitch and I'm pulling on. Tracks. I play with them words, I play with them birds. I'm where they at. I'm stating facts, 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 facts. Ooh, these niggas be watching, these women be plotting. I'm stating facts.
Everybody think not these niggas be rats.
I see you in public and know what if I ain't giving you down. I'm stating facts, 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 facts. Fly, jump, real, 85, step, get big, body, sexy, private jet, jury, heavy, fitted, heavy, you better be careful. I know how to get through the metal detector. My money I sling on a bitch, nigga, barely you guessing, I guess they know no better. I'm flexing, I ain't really showing no chest. I take a little flip with a chick, I ain't throwing no dick.
They thinking we going together.
I'm overseas on a trip, not an internet niggas, just
let me hoes together.
I'm gonna be speaking, you know, on the reverend. Preach to the streets and we got it for cheap. trap all this ice in my teeth and I go all the bells. Facts. 8 quarter tickets I spent on my ditch every time I returned it to me. They racks. I done fell off and I ran it back up and I'm mad all month. I'm calling what's that? Ask you for money, act like I don't got it. If you post a picture of me on shop, controlling big money, I got it. My pocket stand on your shit, you pretend I got it. Facts. If you got a problem, I'm pulling up. Big booty bitch and I'm pulling on. Facts. I play with them words, I play with them birds, I'm with they at. I'm stating facts. Ooh, these niggas be watching, hold me jock, I'm stating facts. Ooh, everybody think not this, these niggas be rats. Ooh, I see you in public, you know what I ain't giving you down. Ooh, I'm stating facts. Can't fly, drop a feel, bitch can't fly, drop a feel, bitch can't fly, drop a feel, bitch can't fly, drop a feel, drop a bitch bang. What's starting me a goddamn fire? I just got cash. I don't want to talk, I don't call back. I don't pop no pills, I don't pop perkins, I just count cash. And my ex-girl keep calling. I don't want to talk, I don't call back. If you ever give me your tape, I don't feel ashamed. Put it on blast. Catch you, put you in a body bag. Spend 100 and I got it right back. Cause I want a new coat. Cause I want a new coat. The Balenciaga with a two-tone. Try to hit me, got a new phone. I know the thing won't take me if I get too big for the bridges. Deep down, if you get talked in, gotta get stitches. New bag that she leave at. She just want the money though. I just want a little top, I don't want box, I got my tongue. So I ain't tell me what you running for. Cause I know the neighbors know my name. Right to the face, turn these right to the race. You can't judge me, I'm rich. Hey, watch my kids. Turned up in a foreign Louis, say I lie. Hey, yeah. Playing, I put your brains on cockers. I'm in the fast lane, old rocks. Doing the last name like Ross. And they do the opposite. I can't do it. Really not this, I get my I said the trick, they follow my lead. She get in my brother, she on the ready. How do we leave? Pray for me, you really. I'm burying money, really big in that eye, and I'm blowing. Down saw them, and guess what? I was good, they thought I was done. Kingdom of Morocco, big Moroccan, new bags that you need. She just want the money though.
All right. Thank you for joining me this evening. I know the neighbors know my name now. So, this is the definitive guide. Body language and statement analysis. It's written by the great man, Mark McClish. Now, the neighbor ain't got no real friends. You want to know how I know? Look here. If you have some real friends, you wouldn't need an Amazon grift list. My best friend, I didn't even have to make a grift list. She knew. She said, oh, shit. She said, Benny, you need this book, dog. So here we go. I want to tell you one thing. This shit is not for the lighthearted at all. Now, what I want to start out with first, I want to go over here to the stool, right? I'm going to jump over to the stool. I'll move to about 203-ish. Okay? Now, bear with me. I still got a little bit left. We're going to be here for just a little bit. So, stool
So yeah, you know, she does have questions about Jody.
The fucking voice of an
Or
angel.
did.
Oh, this chapter 2, folks. This chapter 2 has to do specifically with what's called unique words. We know our friend. There we go. Put a little light on this shit. Our friend. She uses many unique words. Stall pump, floppy britches, slithers, fizzle pop, bang bang gang. Let's throw the death box in there. Etc. These words in and of themselves are not that strange. But when you add to the sauce that this one here been a suspect for 6 days, bear with me. Yeah. She'd have made etc. weird than a bitch. I'm working on right now a new merch line. On the front, it's going to say so on and so forth. And on the back, it's going to say and all the et ceteras. Probably had like 2 or 3 different et ceteras. Like I'm the shit, et cetera. Maybe put a picture of the camper and put like big ballin', et cetera. Maybe I have one that says if the campers are rocking, don't come a knocking, et cetera. Et cetera. I may just have one that just has the et cetera symbol on it. Maybe one just, I don't know, just et ceteras, right? So you'll make these things very affordable. I'm not going to lie. The whole point is to exploit the suspect, right? Yeah. I might make one that says, my daughter's a witness, etc. Anyways. Hey, sweetness, love you too, baby. So check this out. So thank you, Fizzle, for this. Unique words. Oh, we've gonna put the fucks to you now. We're gonna pour the fucking cold to it now, Jody. On sale soon. Yeah. We'll put a suspect cubed. Oh shit. Cause I'm for real. We're gonna get to it. Get tuned in real quick. All right. Here we go. It says, in my research on deceptive language, I found there are several unique words deceptive people like to use. Some of these words are unique based on their definition. Other words are unique because they frequently appear in false statements. People will use these distinctive words without realizing their language is showing they are being deceptive. Never. What you're going to find is a lot of these are what we would coin all or nothing phrases or statements, right? Never. The word never means not ever. Since I have chosen to not jump out of a plane, I can correctly use the word never. When I state I have never been skydiving, you understand? I have never been skydiving. Okay? Now, because the word never is a negative word, deceptive people will sometimes use it as a replacement for the word no. Right? No, never, interchangeable. when you're referring to deceptive statements. Okay. However, the word never does not mean no. Therefore, you cannot substitute the word never for the word no. Look at the following questions and answer concerning a shooting. Question: did you bring a gun to his house? Answer: I never had a gun. Never is the wrong answer, because what does never mean? Not ever. Not ever is referring to the whole span of your life. Ever. So unless you have never handled a gun before, you could effectively say that statement, right? The answer sounds good because it has a negative tone. Never. And probably the body language, the swinging of the head and the spit in the bridge flying out. Becomes a very contact sport, does it not? Sounds good because it has a negative tone. And if the person truly never possessed a gun, then he must not have had one when he went to the house. However, the question requires a yes or no answer. Oh, goodness. All right.
At this time, I'd imagine, if there's doubt at some point.
So she didn't play the whole thing. She didn't point out the wait a minute. She's like, yes, so she did have these doubts. There's narrative. So there's
going to be doubt still, especially when it comes to your own child.
All the time remembering one of a few things. One, the most important thing. This lady is not a creator. She's a suspect. A suspect. The people in the discussion area over there have a very unique opportunity in that probably never in their life, other than their own family, have they taken on and staunchly defended a suspect. Now, that's not to say that these people, I'm coining them those people. Those people, that's not to say that those people down the line at the end don't reserve the right to turn around and say, oh, well, Benny, you know what you did with the wells? You was in there like swimwear in order to try to hear anything, a whisper, a slip up, a drunken soliloquy, anything. Duly noted. But the thing about that is that it really don't count unless you make the turn before the end. Otherwise, you just crash out like the dummy, right? Now.
And knowing that Floppy, her nurse buddy, is sitting there holding the hand of an intoxicated individual, making her believe certain shit and telling her things that way she believes her.
Now, let's be very clear. When she says intoxicated people, what she actually means, is Ernie Shell. Because the other day she was patting his foreskin, almost literally, but no, metaphorically, figuratively speaking, patting the foreskin of the Shell because he said he had some text messages. Last I knew, it was not against the law to imitate a suspect or anyone for that matter. I could text Ernie Shell, if it were me, I could text Ernie Shell like I was Donald fucking Trump. It would make never mind whatsoever. Period. So you've got this sort of catatonic, schizophrenic fantasy that they both share. Now, to hold the hand of the sick and dying is one thing. To hold the hand of an idiot in the moment, let me tell you what, Jody Sue, alcohol has zero medicinal benefit other than to sanitize and kill germs. Never will a doctor tell you, here's a prescription for some alcohol. Take your ass down there and get that 1600, Jody. Never, homie. Not when, not never. But let me tell you what they do in a lot of states, Jody. They do write prescriptions for medicinal cannabis. Oh, wait. In a lot of places, Jody, that medicinal network has now turned recreational publicly for anybody, right? So we know you're medicated. We know that it's nothing prescribed, period. The doctor would never prescribe you tequila. But let me show you something. I'm really going to hammer home tonight. This is like, at some point today, your little homeboy ended up in and out of an Uber. And now, cuz is undocumented for it. But wait. We know what kind of friends you got. Jody, I got a real fucking serious question for you. Let me tell you what. Let's say I got a property almost exactly 1.5 miles away from my house, like the one that you had access to on Fields Road. Let's say, for an instance, if this and this, if these two things is not connected, if the police come to see about this, Jody, over on Ben Hill, they come over here to see about this, why you over at Fields Road getting rid of shit? Why? You committed too early by taking the weed over there and burning it. You and Andy committed too early that there was going to be problems, didn't you? Who brought them over there to your property, homie? Why'd they come over to your property, bro? What about Ben Hill made them go to Fields Road and look in your shit? Don't worry, I'll wait.
Should have been, yeah, okay. All right, sleuthers.
GD size, perfect storm, lots of extra dogs.
Now, I don't know what you call it when a suspect comes to the internet and when people say shit that effectively triggers open the flap on her adrenal gland. That's what a trigger is, right? A trigger is effectively when you cannot turn off the feel good, because let me tell you what, the same shit, the chemical that dumps in your body that comes when you're scared is the same one that comes when you're jumping out the airplane. It's the same thing. It's just interpreted differently or on different levels, right? So tell me, Jody, we see what triggers you, Jody. Any talk about driving vehicles triggers the fuck out of you. Anytime we put you in the red truck, which you keep putting yourself in, baby. You keep putting yourself in that truck, Jody. Well, I was driving. Oh, you were driving? You ain't got the credentials to be driving, first of all.
The scent of freshly cut trees. So
I mean, a lot of times, it be something real small like that that you got to meet the threshold for probable cause, baby. Oh, they're looking for probable cause, gang. Oh, yeah. Oh, no license. Sure thing. Oh, one pill back in the gap. Madam, will you please step out of the car? It turned into one of them. Probable cause, Jody.
It sounded like one of Candace's interviews. Which one's crime? Which one's what? Was it this one? Someone said, why would Candace back up Jody Stewart? Candace never thought it possibly happened. I agree with you. Yeah, I read that one.
It said,
so,
Jody.
In my opinion, no.
We all heard it. Tiffany brought it out. She said, Jody, why did dogs, or did the dogs stop at your feet? The dogs never stopped at my feet. Never? Not ever? Never? Or never as in the substitute for no?
Way the Toyota Tacoma they are looking for isn't the one driven by the family right across the street. In my opinion, Ellie was never looking for it. It's right there just waiting on the driver to tell the truth. Penny, amen.
Amen, baby. Say amen for this. We're going to get back to this real quick. We talked about this math, right? Just 1 and 1, right? It's not just Texas math. It's good Tennessee math too. We only know of one witness. One witness. Who's the one witness? The person driving the red truck. Jody swears she wasn't driving a red truck. Jody, you know what? You would have been better off to make yourself the driver of the red truck, baby. Because they was only wanted to talk to as a witness. But you swore you wasn't in no red truck, making yourself the suspect, baby. Now, the only other person that we've ever heard you say was a witness is who? Chattanooga. Jody says Chattanooga's a witness. The fucking law says whoever was driving the red truck was a witness. I don't know. I don't know. You can show me better than you can tell me. Now, it'd be better off, we just speculating, right, baby? You'd be better off to put Chattanooga behind the wheel of that truck than to have her be next to you all day and you be a suspect and her be a witness. That means she witnessed what made you a suspect. Fair enough? Let's be very clear about this. This fucking hillbilly ass logic and this hillbilly ass vernacular that you keep trying to look here, man. Just because I live in the South don't mean I'm behind and slow. A lot of y'all North City folk think the people in the South are slow because we talk different or we're that.
And there's Penny / Fizzle. I'm giving them the idea that literally we owned a red Toyota Tacoma truck. We did not, nor was it at my house. Right? Nobody was driving it. Nobody. That's
nobody. The fuck is this, a Keith Sweat song? Nobody, baby. Looking ass.
Let's just make that clear. And there she is saying, in my opinion, law enforcement was never, quote, looking for it. It's right there, just waiting on the driver to tell the truth.
Never looking for it. Wasn't never looking for it. Never not ever how the fuck can she know what the police are not ever doing? How can you know what the police are not ever doing as a substitute for no looking ass? How can you know that? That's like you knowing, that's like you saying last night, oh, the police know that Tiffany's involved with Scott H to break in the trailer. Yeah, because the police are in the business of sharing information with people that could also still be suspects of their own fucking crime. Don't worry. I'll wait. Man, look, I can see what it is. You and Andy y'all been in that fucking dilapidated shack over there, cooking up half-cocked shit that works for them motherfuckers out there. Oh, yeah. I mean, you talking about a sheriff whose son can't get out both of their own ways. Oh, and you got Ronnie Lawson. He's like, oh, yeah. You remember little Carly Trent? We know how to find him. We don't need no fucking help. Yeah, and if I find this one, then they're not going to care when my baby raping son gets exposed. It didn't work out, did it, bro? Hell no. And you passed the baton like you raced in the Olympics in a country that never sees a day of sun. Looking ass. But wait.
And there she is saying, in my opinion, law enforcement was never, quote, looking for it. It's right there, just waiting on the driver to tell the truth. Y'all, I mean, they literally asked us, all.
Now, literally is to superimpose a very real situation. When someone says literally, what they're actually kind of saying is like, this time I'm telling the truth. Like literally, all the other times I was just fucking around before. But literally this time it's the truth. Literally.
I've stated this many times. Law enforcement, Ansley Daniels, all the local reporters, large media, federal agencies, and all fucking police agencies, etc. Doing press conferences saying everybody's questions about the red truck, blah, 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 all the leads, etc., blah, blah. Y'all,
etc. Etc. in this situation always stands for the, like, this much of a paragraph that she doesn't want to repeat because y'all idiots over there already know what the fuck etc. means, right? Oh yeah, etc. Like, oh yeah, all the other bullshit I was gonna lie at the end of this to try to substantiate it for you people, but you already know what all of that is because I've done it 565 days in a row. Hold on, check this out. The subject has substituted the word never for the word no. This is an indication he did have a gun when he went to the house. You following me? When someone substitutes the word never in for no, it usually means what they're saying they never did, they actually fucking did. Moving forward. It turned out the subject was lying and admitted that he had brought a gun with him. It is hard for some people to directly tell a lie by using the word no. Therefore, they will resort to using the word never. Because no is just no. It's a yes or no question. But when you put never in there, never really just sits up there after you pin it by itself. You got to prop it up with some other words and some other shit and some other adjectives and pronouns, probably misused ones at that. Moving forward. Ted Haggard is the founder and former pastor of the New Life Church in Colorado Springs, Colorado. On November 3rd, 2006, Haggard stepped down as the pastor of his church because of allegations made by Mike Jones. And I don't mean Mike Jones, a former male prostitute. Jones claimed that for 3 years he engaged in sex with Haggard, who went by the name Art, like Deathbox. Shortly after Jones made his accusations, Haggard was interviewed outside his home by television station KUSA 9 News in Denver, Colorado. The reporter asked Haggard, "Have you had a relationship with?" Haggard says, he interjects, "I have not." Reporter says, "Any kind of gay relationship?" Haggard says, Reporter says, "At all?" Haggard says, I've never had a gay relationship with anybody, and I am steady with my wife. I'm faithful to my wife. The first thing we see is Haggard did not let the reporter finish the question. We see a lot of that, don't we? Before being interrupted, the reporter was able to ask, "Have you had a relationship with?" Haggard answered, "I have not." Haggard denies the relationship, but we do not know with whom he did not have a relationship. Haggard is guessing the reporter is going to ask him about his accuser, Mike Jones. However, we cannot associate his denial with Mike Jones since his name was never mentioned in the question. Haggard does the same thing again and starts to answer the second question before it is completely asked. Once the reporter is able to ask the complete question, any kind of gay relationship at all, Haggard answers, "I've never had a gay relationship." Haggard does not answer the question with a no. Instead, he uses the unique word never as a substitute for the word no. This indicates he is being deceptive about whether or not he was involved in a gay relationship. Fair enough?
Sits across the road, did not belong to us, still does not. And law enforcement, all the agencies immediately asked us about it as soon as it was time to do so. When they
All the agencies asked us to do so when it was time. All the agencies. All is all. All my fingers. Not excluding even one. All doesn't all hold up all your fingers. All, everyone, not excluding one. Okay, now when you have somebody that tries to relay, trying to convince you that she's articulate, the lack of articulateness, it shines through with a lot of the verbiage, the etceteras. Etc. is exactly polar opposite from being articulate. It is being very generic. It's like etc. It's like yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. You fill in the blanks for yourself. But this is the problem. With the etceteras and when we fill in the blanks, we are always wrong, aren't we? Always wrong. Not excluding one. Always wrong when we finish the etceteras for her. How can you can't always be wrong and you can't always be right? Even a broke clock is right 2 times a day.
Thought the witness driving it was a thing, and it came to their attention, and we all told them about any red trucks we knew, even ones that weren't Toyotas going.
We all. How can the fuck can she know what all of the people said about the red trucks? I'll tell you what, that's a lie, because all of the people around there didn't say the same thing about the red trucks. You have one person that we know is a real validated witness, and they may own or had been in the area to see something in a red or maroon Tacoma pickup truck. Jody owns, let me retract that because we're being articulate. Jody has access to a maroon Toyota Tacoma pickup truck. She also has access to her daughter, who she claims is the only witness. So now, in March of 2006, Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice was asked if she could consider running for president in 2008. She gave the following answer: I have never wanted to run for anything. I don't think I even ran for class anything when I was in school. She's never wanted to run for anything. Rice did not answer the question with a yes or a no, which is what the fucking question requires. When you're using the word never, you have to prop it up with other shit. Would you consider running for president in 2008, Ms. Condoleezza Rice? Yes or no? Oh, yeah, okay, I got that. I have never wanted to run for anything. Gotcha.
And they immediately came and checked this out and all the others from everybody else, right? Unless, of course, Dummy Fizzle there is talking about one that sits way down the road that belongs to another family member, Andy's. But that, because I know the internet took a whole shit ton of photos of it and plastered it all across the line.
So, you've got a guy. He's just growing a little pot outside or inside, wherever it was. Because if I try to act like I know specifically where the pot was grown, look, it's 420 in the chat. If I try to act like I specifically know where the pot was grown, I must have been in on growing the pot, right? That's the logic. If you didn't have nothing to do with Summer Wells, why you over on the other property destroying shit? How do you know already that they're going to be digging through your shit, that you need to go to the other property that you don't even own? That property you don't own. Your name is not on it. In fact, I looked it up last night. It's George and Polly on the motherfucker, baby. So there's no reason to suggest they needed to go to Fields Road. However, y'all two knew they were going there. So you went there ahead of them and cleaned up. Why? I don't know. Because there should have been no reason they would want to go to a peripheral, another property, other than the one centrally located right there. Is something that led them to go over to that property. I don't know what the thing is. I know who led them. I said on the internet. You know who took them over there. That's why you got a problem with dude. You got a problem with dude, don't you? Yeah, they've been talked about all over the internet, right? Fred had on a wire when he went over there to mess with Candace and Don. He had a wire on, Jack. A real police wire. Not like, I got my phone turned on and I'm just recording. Nah, he had a wire on, Jack. A real fucking, like, let's shave your chest and put the fucking a wire. Like Eddie Murphy, fucking first 48. Or another 48, whatever the hell it is. A wire. It's set on the line, too. He took the police over there to Fields Road. He also talked about the 430. Let me tell you what. In my neck of the woods, people, in my neck of the woods, they don't put wires on people they don't believe. Oh no, they don't put wires on folks they don't believe. Why would they want to do that? They put a wire on somebody they don't believe, and guess what? The real suspect be 100,000 miles down the road by the time they get to this fool to go put a wire on to come lie to them. They believe Fred Hill to some degree. They believe to some degree Fred Hill is truthful about the 430. They done sent the man over with the wire. He's like, yeah, I'm not no snitch, but this about a little girl. Hell yeah, I'm gonna wear a wire. Fuck's wrong with you? Hell yeah, give me 7 wires. You dig? So then you got somebody the police put credibility in. They put credence in Fred Hill's story. You know how I know? They ain't putting no wire on Dudley Ajon, bitch ass. They ain't putting no wire on John Womack. They ain't putting no wire on Jody Stool, Voldemort. They ain't putting no wire on Booger. They ain't putting no wire on, well, on a different case. They put a wire on too. And a whole bunch of them motherfuckers been caught on a recording because of it. Guess what? Use that logic when you deal with the logic with Fred Hill in the wire. Look here. They put a wire on Jody and it brought fruit back. It was low hanging fruit, but they put a wire on her because they believed her and she brought back fruit.
Truck is not running years. Still doesn't. It's a yard ornament. And it's not even the right make and model either. So, or whatever. You know what I mean? Doesn't fit the parameters, whatever the fucking looking for. But that vehicle's not running years.
Sure. Oh yeah, that vehicle right there, it hasn't ran in years. It hasn't run in years. I mean, it hasn't run in years. Just because I say so, you have to fucking believe it. I mean, I done lied to you about all kinds of other shit, remember?
Last time it ran, they were actually trying to cut wood during a storm and it just stopped. And Monster actually helped them pull it out and back to their house, and it was years ago. And that doesn't sit directly across the street from Candace and them either. So there's old Fizz, but with her hot take of bullshittery.
Thank you. That is exactly how I feel. Boom. Right there.
So this whole time, all right, TM's like, oh no, there's not a truck accident. There's not anything like that. There's not whatever, right? But also Little was driving, but also Little wasn't. But also the eldest was this. And maybe they went to get her a pack of cigarettes. They did.
Unfortunately, the verbiage, you butchered it. Your daughter cannot be a witness and you be a suspect in the same house. It can't. It ain't no way. I asked you, and you said none of y'all have been interviewed separately. The 3 of y'all. You mean to tell me that out of a few interviews of all of y'all together, they've derived that you're a suspect and your daughter is a witness, and they didn't just move Boogie to the fucking military like, no. When Boogie was talking to his daddy, he said, I was by her side all day. Why isn't Boogie a witness then? Because you done got Boogie out of sight, out of mind, right? If all of y'all were together, those 2 witnessed what you did that made you a suspect. They seen it. Had to have. Or y'all wasn't together all day. Let me tell you what, baby. Look at the hooky. It's a lot of these times you was alone, baby. You could turn your phone sideways, horizontal, and use the zoom. From 2:38 to 4:52, she responded one time at 3:45. It's a good block of time on each side. You got about 45 on the front side, and you got a good hour and 35 minutes on the back side, with just one yeah in the middle. Too long, no response. You okay? Yeah. 4:30, 4:42. There's a scream. Candace claims she can't hear the scream. She never heard the scream. Nobody on the hill heard the scream. Jody heard the scream. And sometime, they stretch it out and they make it 4:30 to 5 o'clock. It ain't even that deep. Between 4:30 and 4:42, Candace went down her hill and seen Jody at the bottom on the left. And sometime between 4:30 and 4:42, reasonably, she was down to Fred Hills, coming off of Fred Hills, being spotted by a friend pulling up to Fred Hills residence. Then you've got 5:31, and we heard the other day on Sleuths, got this new pinpoint specific minute inside of all of the minutes on June 15th, 2021, 5:32. Look right there. She didn't answer between 5:31 and 6:02. 31 minutes to get down. 31 minutes to get busy.
Whatever, right? She debunks that issues. We're just speculating. But then here comes Fizzle. Fizzle says, in my opinion, no way that Toyota Tacoma they're looking for isn't the one driven by the family right across the street. In my Ellie was never, quote, looking for it. It's right there, waiting on the driver to tell the truth. And then you have Slithers. Boom, that's exactly what I thought. This whole... What? Wait. Huh? Right?
Bearing in mind this is a suspect, right? Never losing sight of the fact that this is a suspect. One of Ted Bundy's homegirls. One of Charlie Manson's homes. One of Timothy McVeigh's homeboys. A suspect coming to the line, threatening people with the police. They're going to call this municipality and call that municipality as a suspect. As a taxpayer, not as somebody who's fighting crime, but as a suspect who just soon try to trick everybody into believing that she's not even that. She's just a mother to a witness. But no, she's been very adamant. She knows. She knows she can't change her spots.
All right. So, anyway, thing is, it's bullshit. And you know the one person law enforcement and feds never have given them as a witness? Well, whoever's driving the red truck. Now we all know how that can go, obviously, right?
Yeah. Because the feds, they're not very articulate at all. They don't ever get 75 to 85% of the convictions. Ever. Not ever. No, Jody. No. What you've done, essentially, you've made your daughter the person in the red truck, for fuck's sake. Now you're talking it off with all this slack jaw backwoods bullshit, and you're losing horribly. You're losing. But you want to know what? Every child involved in this whole shitty fucking mess has already lost. Every child. Mm-hmm. Name me a child that hasn't lost between the two hills. Tell me. There ain't a child. Is children still lost? Is children lost and still losing every day? We just had Christmas. This motherfucker's running around this bitch talking about this, that, and the third about the wells. Let me tell you a whole bunch of shit they ain't doing in 2 Christmases. And ain't no fucking excuse for why it hasn't happened. None. Selfishness and self-centeredness is the only reason it hasn't happened. You want me to believe that after time is the healer of all. Time smooths over tragedies like 9/11 even. All of us. After all this time, they want to start working, huh? Okay.
They could be being serious. It could just be a witness driving the red truck, like law enforcement and feds have called them. Law enforcement and feds keep saying they're looking for a potential witness driving a red Toyota Tacoma truck that they believe.
You heard the fucking feds say anything? When did the feds say anything about a red truck? A red truck from the feds. She's over there lying to them people. Yeah.
May have witnessed something on
You know what?
June 15th, etc.
Blank. You show right, baby. Let me tell you what. Could have saved her before she went missing. With all the sedatives and in the trying to sedate the girls over there so they can be touched on. Looking ass. It's like you, Ernie Shell, and like maybe 1 or 2 other sodomites. They keep Molly Ho Lightly, a dancer, a hooker, and a fucking dope fiend keep wanting Summer Wells to be sexually assaulted for some reason. I don't know why. Why y'all keep putting sexual assault in these kids' lives? Hell, you had Don B. He said these boys was forced to hide shit in their butt. Sound like some shit that probably used to happen to Don as a little boy. I hate to say it, but you know how these fools like to project this shit. Let's move forward. Rice did not answer the question with a yes or a no. Instead, she used the word never as a substitute for the word no. Rice is not necessarily being deceptive. Instead, she is giving a good political answer. She's in politics, not in suspects. If she would have answered no, that would have dashed any hopes that she may have had of becoming president. If she answered yes, that would have caused a firestorm among the press. Therefore, Rice gave an answer in which she avoided committing herself. Right in the fence. Her use of the word never tells us that she did indeed think about running for president. Same logic. You use the word never, and it's always. We do not know how much thought she gave to it, but we do know it did indeed cross her mind. Otherwise, she would have answered the question using the word no.
They're not sure if they were in the 14th or 15th, but they think it was the 15th. They could have potentially witnessed something that could blow Summer's case wide open. But yet, what are they doing? They're feeding out like whoever's in the red Toyota contract is a suspect, even though no list of suspects has ever been given to these fuckers.
No list of suspects has ever. In this situation, she's substituting ever for never. And nevers is not ever. That's not entirely true. Been a few people called Master who was suspects and got the nod of confirmation. Like, bring them in, coach. Now, I want to listen to a little bit more of this. Thank God for Sage Sleuth. Are you in here, baby? You in here, Sage Sleuth? Man, look here. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for paying attention to the things that a lot of people ain't paying attention to. Now,
Here it hit back up, but I know that it was one of the two heavier vehicles over there. Be shortly after that, but I was already getting ready. Trying to make 30 point. I'm turned around facing the electrical box in the cabin. I've got my shirt off, putting another one on, getting ready, etc.
So here, let me ask a question, and I know you probably never.
Etc.
What was you doing?
Etc. Really focus on what the fuck etc. means. Please.
For that.
What?
And the frequency in which it's used. It is used like a consonant. It's used like a vowel. If she opens her mouth and breathes, it's going to end with etc. Her periods, if you were to zoom in on them, it actually says etc.
Oh yeah, but before that,
was it just because it's hot or something? You just changed the clothes?
No, I was getting ready because after we hear a scream, we go out and look for all that stuff. We come back in, and the kids they went to the main. I stayed in the cabin. I started getting ready because as you can see by the text message.
As you can see by the text messages. Turn your phone sideways and zoom in a little bit, baby. Listen to what she says. Between 4:30 and 4:42.
After we hear a scream, we go out and look for all that stuff. We come back in.
After we heard the scream, we go out and look and come back in. After we hear the scream, we go out and look and come back in. But at 4:52, she's saying she's talking to the kids like, what do you do when you've been gone and left the kids in the cabin? You come back and you say, I'm talking to the kids. Well, what do you mean? That's a strange answer to a question that's almost an hour old. If they were with you the whole time looking at the screen and hearing and seeing the shape of the screen, why do you feel it's unnecessary to say you're talking to them? You've been talking to them. Moving forward.
Went to the main. I stayed in the cabin. I started getting ready because, as you can see by the text messages I released it publicly or whatever.
Boom.
Trying to make.
They went to the main. She stayed in the cabin getting ready. That means what? It means she's alone. She's alone. The kids are in the main. She is alone. She's alone. So when Booger says he was with her all day, well, no, you weren't. Actually, were you? And actually, Candace says it around between 4:30 and 4:42. She saw Yo Mama at the bottom of the hill. Yo Mama just said she heard a scream and she went out to look. She went out to look. You must have went all the way.
And the kids, they went to the main. I stayed in the cabin. I started getting ready because, as you can see by the text messages I released to publicly or whatever, trying to meet Andy when he gets off and gets back to the house, pick me up so we can go out. So I start getting ready. But at that point, I thought he was going to be on time, right?
But he wasn't on time.
He wasn't. He let me know he wasn't going to be shortly after.
He wasn't on time. But he was early at the same time. He wasn't on time. But he also wasn't early either, was he, Sue? He was late and he was late. I'll show you. It's about a 20-minute drive from from the tire shop to the crib. Right here. 6:02. He's on his way. About to leave. What am I doing? Getting me or not? Want me to? Yeah, I'll be at the bottom in 20. She stated she went ahead and went right on down. But had she even waited, it would have been 6:25. She would have been waiting for at least another 40 minutes after that because he did not pull in until 7:03 or 7:05. They're not really sure. Let me tell you what. Jody knows exactly what order they came in, unless she played with the cameras before they came. Jody knows the order of every fucking thing that day because she has cameras all over the hill.
But I was already getting ready at that point for what I assumed at those minutes was him, getting off and going to be on time. But he wasn't. Just a few minutes later, he let me know he wasn't, and whatever. But so
it took him. Look at here. He got there at either 7:03 or 7:05. He's leaving at 6:02. It actually took him an hour and 1 or 2 minutes to get there. You have 40 minutes lost in the sauce. Oh, yeah, it's 40 minutes lost in the sauce somewhere. But she said he got there at 6:30 with the police. Let me tell you what. The police didn't show up until 7:03. If they'd have showed up at 6:30 with Andy, like she says they both did, that would have been about a 4-minute police response. That's about 41 minutes early. Not gonna fucking happen. Not even in Scott H's best day.
What was Candace doing at this time? And Dawn was supposedly at work, right?
Yeah.
Do you think Dawn was at work?
Now, around 5:30, when I'm putting on certain stuff, I hear like a car hit the driveway.
She skipped over it. She don't want to say. Let me tell you what. If you've got a little who you claim the neighbor was peeping Tomming on, oh yeah, and you already know about the stuff with his sister in Utah, and you already know about the sedatives, you got a camera pointed at the wells, baby. Who wouldn't? If you didn't at this point have a camera pointed at the wells, I would say you was a derelict as a parent. You had a camera over there. You had a fucking camera over there. Andy had a camera over there because in December of last year, when we were outside and Don and Candace were going at it, Andy pulled up with Cupcake and a carload of people. He knew we were out there. He could see it. Had a camera pointed at Ben Hill and Beach Creek. That ain't no new shit. That's standard operating procedure for those folks.
Too close. Like, man, what the fuck? You know, and after I heard everything and I knew it was like, yeah, that's what the fuck. But none of it makes sense with everything else. So it's like I always like doubted myself.
The what the fuck? That is typical suspect talk. The what the fuck? Yeah. No. Witnesses don't talk like that. No, this suspect guard. Believe me. I know.
You know, I know. And that day I didn't, it was like almost my brain didn't want to catalog because it was such a normal noise at 5:32. And it was like, man, something's.
Turn your phone sideways and utilize Zoom, please. 5:32. Look at 5:31. 5:31 is the last time she checks in until 31 minutes later. 32 minutes later, 31 minutes later. She checks in, getting me or not. Now, the fuck do you mean getting me or not? There's a child missing and you know it. And you trying to leave. And you make it seem like somewhere in between 5:31 and 6:02 or between 2:14 and 4:52, he became aware of what was going on and he's almost squirrely like he ain't coming to the spot. Because you're like, are you getting me? Getting me is like you ain't coming home because you don't have to say that. You know he's coming that way. If you do, we'll head there. Well, what if she didn't want him to? Where would he go? Ask yourself, where would he go if she did not want him to at 6:02? He's finna go somewhere else.
You know, but all these things come together, you know, and you realize, well, why the fuck are the cars going up and down over there at 5:30? It's like, man, something's, you know, but all these things come together, you know, and you realize, well, why the fuck are the cars going up and down over there at 5:30 and all this other shit?
So there was cars, more than one
car. There was something
cars. From the Queen of Articulate. I guarantee you ain't been a fucking car up that hill since them motherfuckers lived there. Ain't no car going up that hill, baby. Their driveway was worse than the Bernards, and the Bernards didn't take no Kia Soul car up there, did they? No. See, it's all in the verbiage, baby. Check it out. John Connolly is a former FBI agent who is currently in federal prison. Connolly grew up in South Boston, in the same neighborhood as Chasing Truth. I'm just playing. As Whitey Bulger's family resided. As adults, Connolly would join the FBI and Bulger would join the Irish mob. Because of his contacts with the Irish underworld, Connolly was able to convince Bulger to become an FBI informant. We know another FBI informant, don't we? Bulger turned out to be a valuable asset, providing information that helped Connolly and the FBI bring down Boston's Italian mob. By dismantling the Italian mafia, Connolly received numerous accolades, and Bulger was able to build his criminal empire. Sound familiar? Connolly retired from the FBI in 1990. With Connolly gone, the FBI stopped using Bulger as an informant and instead turned their attention to his illegal activities. In 1995, charges were filed against Bulger and his associates for racketeering and extortion. That's the RICO, baby. The investigation also uncovered Connolly's secret deal with Bulger. In exchange for information, Connolly would tip Bulger off to any investigations that targeted his crew. Connolly also falsified reports to hide Bulger's crimes. In 1999, Connolly was indicted for alerting Bulger, falsifying reports, and accepting bribes from Bulger. He was convicted in 2002 and sentenced to 10 years in federal prison. In 2005, he was indicted on murder and conspiracy to commit murder charges in the 1982 death of John Callahan. It was believed that Callahan was killed on Bulger's orders after Connolly told Bulger that Callahan was cooperating with the police who were investigating Bulger and his crew. In 2008, a jury convicted Connolly of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 40 years in the clink. Shortly after his arrest in 1999, Dateline NBC profiled John Connolly's case. Connolly was interviewed by correspondent Dennis Murphy. Murphy asked him about crossing the lines that separate a good cop from a bad cop. Murphy asks, "Did you go too far over the line?" Connolly says, "Anyone in my business that knows what they're doing knows enough to walk to that line but never step over it." Murphy, "And you didn't?" Connolly says, "I never stepped over that line. I never, not ever, stepped over that line." That's a yes or no. That's a yes or no question, babe. What you got to remember is that a lot of these things that she's been asked out throughout the course of time, a lot of them have required a detailed answer. A lot of them have not. And all you've ever gotten was detailed answers. You hardly ever get a yes or no from the stool. Ever. Not ever.
Back up, but I know that it was one of the two heavier vehicles over there. Also, I know Candace or Grandis, one of the heavier ones, coming back up into the, driveway at 110. And then at, around 6 is when the calls for summer start, where they're yelling for and things outside. And
so let me tell you what I did. Nobody knows about this.
You took a bunch of meth last night and wandered all over fucking Melville, New York, is what you did. All over Melville. All over.
Middle part of the road there, being Hill Road. When you get right off the hill there. And then we took something coming out of the hollow there, just to see if we could verify noise. See if we could hear. Just to see if we could hear. And you can hear. You can hear.
Talking about the road.
Interesting. Ernie Shell's test concluded something completely different than the others' tests. Now, you ain't gonna hear me do this very often. If you've ever fucking heard it before. I don't believe Ernie Shell even did a test. But I believe him. I believe him. Why do I believe him? Jody said she heard the scream at around 4:30 or 4:42. Seems like a really strange time for Candace to also be out looking around at around the time 4:30, 4:42. How did Candace not hear the scream if she's down there at around 4:30, 4:42? Probably she's down there after the scream, right? But I believe you hear a scream there. I don't know what shape it is. I don't know what color it is. I don't know how fast it moves. But you're going to hear it. Nobody ever disputes Jody Stool when she hears the sound of the gravel? Why not? You're going to hear the gravel, but not a scream. She can hear the cow 0.3 of a mile away, but not a scream. You probably going to hear a scream because it's not the same brand of sound you're used to hearing out there. It's not a cow. It's not a heavier vehicle. It's not a lighter vehicle. It's not a 2-wheel. It's not a 4-wheel. It's not an all-wheel drive. It's a sound you're not used to hearing. So what is it? The Bermuda Triangle of sound? No, it's not the Bermuda Triangle of sound. Should have the windows open, the doors open. I believe if there was a scream, you would hear it. There just wasn't a scream that was related to this complaint. That's what he said. He didn't say there wasn't a scream. Let's be very clear on the verbiage and the vernacular here. He did not say there was no scream. What he said was the scream is unfounded. It doesn't seem to be related to this event, to this complaint, pardon me. Doesn't seem to be related to this complaint. He didn't say there wasn't one. He just said the scream, if there was one, was something completely different. Fair enough, because you only got one event. You only got one event popping off, really. You got this bullshit event that Jody Sue tries to paint as this thing she can mesh. And in my opinion, the only reason she has the issue with Dobbs on the 15th is to have an alibi for why you played with the cameras. Point blank. You got to have a reason for why you got in there and fucked around with the angle of the cameras, why you may have stopped the cameras at some particular time in the day and they didn't run for a period. I mean, because let's be real. If you got a card ready for the police before they get there, that means what's on the card is all you intend on giving. That means from whenever you pulled the shit out the card to when you're holding the card, that time in between then and when the police get there, no recording. No recording whatsoever. Time stopped when she pulled the card. Now, that's not to say there wasn't another card put in there, or maybe it saves to some sort of hard drive on there. But what should have happened was that when the police came and she says she had imagery that they could utilize, they say, "Can you go get that?" And she says, "Sure." The only reason you have it ready is for 2 reasons. So that you can kill the camera early and you can hand pick what the fuck you give the police.
Driveway, you can hear from the driveway, you can hear something coming up the road.
In her driveway or ours at 125?
And hers, at her driveway on top of the hill there. Just to make sure you can hear it come up the hill, you hear the rock spot. You know what a rock spot is. The rock's back. Anyways. Up and destroyed that you have to get up on the gas if you've got a regular vehicle to get up that some bitch, right?
Well, no, it depends on if you know how to fucking drive on. It's like you've seen my
exactly
Kia Soul up that some bitch, but they couldn't get full.
But when you throw it down in gear,
She said, "You've seen." She said, "You've seen my Kia Soul. I've never seen your Kia Soul." Orale! Thank you for your contribution, Queen. It's going to be donated to whoever YouTube wants to give it to tonight. We played we got time today. Now, we donated this. All this is going to the cause. She said, "You've seen my Kia Soul." That's what she said.
Well, no, it depends on if you know how to fucking drive wrong. It's like you've seen my Kia Soul up at some bitch, but they could get full drive.
But when you throw it down in gear, you
Fair
throw
enough.
it in bulldog mode. You throw it in lower gear, right? And it goes up in easier, right?
Their cars make different noises, and as long as they're not driving, you can barely hear anything.
But it goes into what we call bulldog gear. It goes up the road. You hear the rock.
It's not bulldog gear. It's called a creeper gear, right? Toyotas have it. Land Cruisers have it. Hummers have it. It's a creeper gear. Yeah. You'll put the bitch in neutral and you'll hit a button and you could just sit back, take your foot off the gas, and that choker like a roller coaster. It's creeper gear.
Splattering as it's climbing. You and you can hear the rocking of it.
Well, I mean, like, not with all the cars and not the way we drive. It's like you could hear, like, say the red Subaru, right? They have. It would do this certain type of thing as it kicked over and picked up, right?
Because a front wheel drive will do different than a rear wheel drive will. Yeah, you'll hear that.
Well,
why do we believe she can hear the gravel, but not a scream? Is it because the scream is important and the gravel's not? And we'll give her the unimportant shit, but when it comes to the gravel of the scream, there's no way. Oh, there's no way. No way. When you think of the quality of the gravel in the vehicle going up the gravel, that's low quality. It's not shrill or animalistic at all. It's not piercing. And in fact, when you've been around that area that long, this shit becomes ambient noise, like a train.
It goes up that way.
But they kick in, the traction kicks in. It does a different thing. Dawn, you can always tell it's him in the white truck because of the way he has to do a little pickup and go, but the gravels aren't too bad. The two heavier ones, they do different things. One will grab differently, and I know the amount, like the amount of times like the tire spins, before it picks up traction and goes as gears shift, and different.
I believe her. Some people have said, Benny, she's really ever only talked that way when she refers to being outside. No. She can hear that shit. She can hear it. You can hear the dogs barking. You can hear a scream.
Things to each of the cars. We all know each other's vehicle sounds and things. Like I know, the other ones beside of them that are connected to their property and, their door slams and the work vehicles and all these other things, it just depends, but we don't have to dog the shit out of those driveways like most people do or think they have to. It's like I can get my straight drive Kia Soul up that, and I know the public, I've seen it driveway, but the thing is I could get it up there just fine with ruts that would eat most trucks, and I could, get it around them and everything else, but, they couldn't get four-wheel drives or anything else up there.
Well, like you said, it just depends on how you drive.
How you drive, what what you're doing, whatever.
So who was driving these vehicles?
Which
The vehicles that you're talking about, referring to up there down the highway.
Like up Candace's driveway. I don't. When I heard at 5:30, I don't know who was behind it.
Well, what about the other one? What about the other one?
5:30. Thank you for this, Sage. This is important shit. At 5:30. There's cars coming up and down at 5:32. Fair enough.
One of the flash going up the driveway that day as well. I don't know who the fuck, or what the fuck that was. And then, but at after 6:09, it was Candace driving, vehicle. But
when was the first time you seen Dawn that day?
So at 5:30, must not have been Candace, right? Because at 6:09, it was Candace.
I seen him when he came down the main road, and Candace and I were still at the end, etc. Ben Hill, all the neighborhood was coming in to try to help their, we'd already searched on the other neighbor, but the others were coming in and floating in to help, and Don and Andy arrived about the same time. Andy's already talked.
Don and Andy arrive at about the same time. We tell you what, we all heard Don say, "Oh, I think I left at 6:04. 6:04, and you pull up at 7:05, homie. You said it was a 60-minute drive, and you made it in 40 minutes. You should have been there at around 6:45, homie. You late too by 15 or 20 minutes. Maybe 25 if you drove fast enough. You're late too, homie. So some kind of way, both of y'all's whole fucking life, Andy and fucking Don, their whole life, they've been leading different existences. Only both to leave work late or early on the same day of their life on June 15th, and they pull in at the same time. And they're both suspects. That show is convenient. So, bro, y'all meet up down the road? Like, at what point did y'all turn behind each other and be like, "Oh, there's Andy," or "Oh, there's Don right there," or "Oh, there's Don"? What time? Where? Your whole life, you've been working towards June 15th, your daughter become missing, and you and the neighbor happen to intersect each other, and y'all both fucking late. I mean, early and late.
Candace. Dawn comes in a minute or two later.
So Candace let Don or Andy know that.
Andy comes in, Don comes a minute or two later. So I thought you was gonna say.
Was missing, right?
Yeah, Andy stops the car. I can see him right there, right at the.
Okay, so he stops the car. So this ain't a conversation through text or phone. She actually physically stops the car and she starts talking to him. How
the car is parked there.
Right, okay. How far along was Don?
Thank you, Ernie. The car. She said he stops the car. But wait. I thought you had the car. How many cars y'all got? One. The Soul. And you got a truck. And you got a Tacoma. You got one car. He's in the car. But he been saying this whole time he don't know what he's driving. You say you had the Soul. But you just said he had the car.
She actually physically stops the car and she starts talking to him. How
the car is parked there.
Right, okay. How far along was Don? Was he before Andy or after Andy that he came up?
He was after Andy, and it was just like a couple minutes,
Right. So how was Don's expression? How was Don's?
I don't know. I still hadn't, I could see the boys. So I was still scared when I seen Andy stop and talk to Candace, and I could hear him talking. I knew she kind of let him know because I could hear parts of the conversation down that way. But then he was coming on down Beach Creek Main Road, and I went back to the end of the guardrail, just flagging down, letting me know I was out there. He seen me, he stopped, and I told him, I was like, Summer's missing. He's like, "Oh, no." I was like, "Well, I thought that's what, you were stopped down there for, but I just want to make sure, and I'm right here." And then he drove on down the road for this.
I'm in front of you, but I feel the need to tell you I'm right here looking ass. Okay.
The other, but in the meantime, I and the other neighbor, we made our way towards, where the boys were and where they'd made it to, looking for Summer. And I talked to the boys, then we made our way back through the middle of the cleared field out between Kansas Hill and Main Road, and met other neighbors. I explained to them what Summer looked like, told them what we'd already searched and done. Obviously they knew there was everything kind of been covered by that point, just by two of us.
Should have tell the other neighbors what Summer looked like. Everybody seemed to know them people pretty good. I don't think you probably had to tell nobody what the hell she looked like.
For other eyeballs and everything, so they were searching and helping start to flow in. But
Right.
then,
So you asked a question. When's the first time you met Benny Keys?
Now, the interesting part about all this is the level of commitment. It'd be like assuming each time you got pulled over for a speeding ticket, you automatically start preparing to go to jail. You're making a commitment far too early. We know Summer has wandered off at least one other time. Didn't know dogs come. Didn't know helicopters come. Didn't know fancy FLIR come. Didn't know Churchill Search and Rescue come. I'm guessing you've never committed to a crime you didn't commit so quickly. You committed. Yeah, we were trying to hide our sin. Oh, you fucking right you were. But how did you know you needed to hide your sin so early? You shouldn't have known. You should not have known at around 6:30, 6:45 that you was going to need to hide your scent at fucking whenever because you said they brought the helicopters before the first night fell. So between 6 and 9:30, they got a fucking helicopter out there before the dark. And you knew the helicopter was coming. You knew the police dogs were coming. You knew all the trackers was coming. You already knew. That's far too early for you to know, because you can't know unless you know. That's like doing some shit and then coming around the back door and coming through the house out the front and acting like you didn't have shit to do with it, but you're here to help. That's like you just stole $20 from somebody and you finna help them look for it because they think they lost it. But you know. You said now is the time to tell the world what you know about Summer Wells. After somebody's had 565 opportunities to destroy that child. Now is the important time. Not at day 5 or day 55 or a day 155 or 255, or you see where I'm going with this. It's only important now because it's important to you. It stopped being important to that child. They say in some cases with children as early as 2 hours. Look at Athena Strand. Some of these people, they grab a hold to these children. They don't intend on using them for a long period of time. They get what they came for, and then they dispose of them like trash. Day 565. That's when we start kicking it into overgear and we start really placing some serious fucking importance on Summerwell's situation. You got this whole time. You've admitted you was lying to us. Now you was lying to us when it was closer to the day she was taking. Dragging it out. Now all of a sudden we're at 565 and you feel the heat. You start coming out with new times, 532, cars going up and down. You don't like when they talk about 430. Just the other day, you insinuated that you've been talking to Don and Candace on Ernie Shell's channel again. I know that's not true. I can't tell you how I know it's not true, but it's not. You may have attempted to reach out to them. I assure you, Don knows that you claimed your husband and him was feeding sedatives to little girls on that hill, baby. I assure you he knows. 1,000%.
Man?
Yeah.
I've never met Benny Keys.
You've never physically met Benny Keys?
Nope.
Okay.
Never.
Okay, that's something.
You show?
I need to know there because I'd always heard that you met when he came up. I didn't know. So you just seen him, right? Did you just see him or something, or was you just in and out and see him, or just?
I've seen him come by here doing shit when he was visiting Candace on past couple when he was here for the vigil in June this year.
She saw me coming by her place during the vigil in June. She saw me coming by her place during the vigil in June. Everybody on Reddit, Vivo, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, they all know I didn't go to no fuck. They know I didn't go there. Stone cold lie. Why would a suspect got to come here and lie on somebody who's not a suspect?
With 1 year and then, or no, he wasn't, not this one.
So you do know that there was the messages I was referring to.
I've never been to one Summerwell's vigil in my lifespan. So she tells a lie to fix a lie to tell another one. Okay. That means I would have had to have been at the vigils in the very beginning in June, right? The ones at the playground and shit? Over there by Allie and them house? Had to have been at them ones, right? Where? Shit, they even got the Sandman on the motherfucker, remember? How they didn't get me? How? That's even more spectacular than saying I was there in June.
That to you that there was a message that was talking about something about laundering money or something like that. Something about I've got too much, I've got to get rid of some of this money, and it was supposed to be to you. You heard anything like that?
You the fuck out of me?
Yeah, it was between you and BK.
The fuck?
I remember I showed it on the one of the live things and everything it was said.
There was nothing like that ever fucking sent between me Keys like that ever.
Okay, so I didn't know.
She's telling the truth, but she used the word ever. She didn't use the word never. You heard her. She said, not ever. Right? She's telling the truth on that one.
I remember I showed it on the one of the live things and everything it said.
There was nothing like that ever fucking sent between me.
Nothing
Ever.
Okay, so I didn't.
like that ever. The science is real. If they say never in the right context, they mean always they do that. If they say nothing ever like, telling the truth. More oftentimes than they're not.
No, I didn't know because I've got a message. I just want to know if it's real or not. That's why I'm trying to verify the validity of if it's real. I've got something that's like a message. I have to go back and lock at it and find it, but I've got one that somebody sent. There was a screenshot. Supposedly, one of you guys had taken. It was when BK was grabbing money for Cash App for Candace or something like that, and this happened to be on one of the screenshots.
I don't know what it is.
That's why when I wanted to talk to you back then. I mean, this is like way back then.
Only that I've shown mine BK's like entire conversation on mine, right? I've shown it, and then he went around at one point trying to like
the entire conversation, like she probably handed off all the footage to the police, kind of probably like that.
refute it by like blocking out certain things he said that I'd already shown. But he literally admitted to being the one that told Chase to have the handoffs between Gemini Hippie or whatever and Ginger Snap.
We've went through this. What I told Brad to do is to not touch nothing out that mailbox and don't touch no check from no Q car lock. That's what I told him. I said, you do either one of them things, boy, you fucked up in the game, fucking with them. Touch that fucking check in front of them news people if you want to, and see what happens to you, and watch how quick it happens. I told that fool don't touch that money back then. Straight up. Why you think he didn't touch it? I told him not to. I said, don't touch shit in that mailbox, bro. No. I don't even know why you got yourself in this kind of jam. Don't touch none of that shit. Now, I don't know who you're going to go have touch it, but you don't touch it. Don't think about touching it. Don't think about thinking about touching it. Don't fucking touch it. Little did I know he'd already touched it.
Got Chase. They were supposed to be checking the P.O. box because Benny said so, and then Chase was supposed to get it at the end. But he took credit for that and admitted to it to me in Messenger. But other than that,
I admitted to telling him to not touch shit in the mailbox. Period. Point blank. Nothing else. You see my name in any of that shit? You don't see my name nowhere in none of that shit. Nothing like that ever. Why didn't she say never? Because she was telling the truth. That's why.
You know.
Okay, I just asking. I didn't know. I mean, I've got thousands. I mean, like literally thousands on this thing, and it's just screenshots. It's a lot of screenshots and stuff. But to be honest with you, I have never.
I've ever like spoken to BK like in. Like, I won't even cooperate with BK this far. You get what I'm saying? Like, so far, I asked more questions in a legitimate manner than BK ever has or will ever get spoken to BK. Like, I won't even cooperate with BK this far.
Lots of stuff. But to be honest with you, I have never.
I've ever, like, spoken to BK. Like, I won't even cooperate with.
So I haven't ever spoken to BK. She didn't say never. She said, I haven't ever spoken to BK.
BK this far. You get what I'm saying? Like, so far, I asked more questions in a legitimate manner than BK ever has or will ever get spoken.
Okay, so now, like I said, I've never studied the case. I've seen things on the true crime community, things. A lot have come up about children being sedated. A lot of things that come up with that. And a lot of things with that. I don't know much about it, but I mean.
You're talking about the FAAFO video that came out after him and TM started targeting me after twisting my fucking words.
So, is that what happened? So Benny just twisted your words?
Oh. Benny twisted your words. It doesn't matter what substance they were sedated with. You keep trying to make it not a pill. That don't matter. You still said it was a substance being sent up there that was allotting an environment for little girls to be felt on. That's what the fuck you said. I'll give you the real estate that what you meant was marijuana and its sedative qualities. Looking ass. I'll give you that. But you still said so that little girls could be touched on. And you said girls, plural. And that was 3 days before she went missing. That would have made it the 12th.
Around to get his narrative out of it, right? To get his agenda.
Right, TM and the rest of this group did, but they're all together. All right, you know how this fucking works.
Well, I know exactly how it works. You know I do. But see, here's the thing. I knew I can't really say online because it makes me even more sick to even think about it.
This the highway runner. Remember, suspect in the highway runner who in 10 days gets arraigned for stealing a van.
I don't like going back to that thought about the players of the Summer Wells case. I don't even like talking about it because it is what it is, because it's evil. It's very sick. It's very evil. I told you, or I not told you, but I told people what I thought exactly my opinion of it was. I seen it. I believe exactly what I still stand by that. Hold on one second. I still stand by that. I stand by that it was child trafficking.
I don't know what it was.
Stands by it. You also got two. Jody was one of the first, probably the first boot on the ground. Ernie was also a boot on the ground very shortly after. These two suspect boots on the grounds who both ain't right with the law.
That's what Jody said.
Well, and there's proof or something. There's answers. The puzzles come together. TBI, FBI, somebody left the puzzle and somebody gets arrested. Then I guess all right. Until then, all we can keep doing is trying to help find little pieces.
So the little pieces, I don't think there's little pieces left. I think the main piece, the only piece left is Summer Wells.
He didn't even catch the 532. This shit happened on his own situationship. You really don't know. I believe you now. Believe you.
The little bit of woods that is behind the house there and outside the house around the area there.
There's really a wooded area that's left right there belongs to other neighbors on their property.
That's what I mean. It goes up and around, it's thicketed up and all that. Have you, Candace, you ever seen Candace in there anywhere?
Remember that the word never means not ever. Therefore, if a person is asked, have you ever? It is acceptable for the person to respond, I have never. If asked, have you ever, it is okay to answer, I have never. It is also acceptable to say no or yes. By using the word never, he may be saying, I have not ever done that, as opposed to using it as a substitute for the word no. It's context. It's like real estate, right? We see an example of this when Governor Bill Clinton was running for president. While on campaign trail in 1992, the soon-to-be elected president was asked about his drug usage. Reporter asks, have you ever used illegal drugs? Clinton responds, I have never broken the laws of my country. I have never broken the laws of my country. Now, knowing in this situation, when asked, have you ever, it is acceptable to answer, I have never. To the casual listener, the answer sounds good, since illegal drug usage would be in violation of the laws of the United States of America. A better listener may notice that the governor used the word never in his answer. Since the interviewer is seeking a yes or no answer, it could be deduced that the governor was substituting the word never for the word no. When you substitute, you're usually lying. A well-trained listener would realize that since the interviewer asked, "Have you ever?" it is appropriate for Governor Clinton to respond, "I have never." It is the appropriate response. He knows this. He's been told this. However, a well-trained listener would also examine the language used by Governor Clinton. He talks about not breaking the laws of my country. Therefore, sidebar, my community, my holler, my neighborhood, my property, my God. You got a lot of shit that you don't actually own, because no, Bill Clinton does not own the country. Therefore, we can believe he has not broken the laws of the United States. But what about breaking the laws of another country? Of my country. Not snitched on anyone in my holler. Leaving it open for you to have snitched on every other motherfucker in every other locale geographically throughout the universe. A perceptive reporter finally realized what the governor was saying. Governor Clinton was then asked if he had ever broken the laws of another country. Only then did he admit that while attending college in Oxford, England, another country, not his country, not my country, but another country, he admitted to experimenting with marijuana. He didn't inhale, just experimented with it. Put a little fire to it, watch it burn. If you want to detect deception, listen for the word never. Always listen for the word never. The use of the word never can make a denial sound believable. Therefore, you should ask yourself if the person has used it correctly, or has she or he used it as a substitute for the word no. If it is used in lieu of the word no, this is a weak denial, because the word never does not mean no. In a suspect mind, it does. But in the world of deceit and statement analysis, never does not mean no. Never means usually you actually did associate and partake in X behavior, right? Okay. There is a good chance the person has not answered the specific question. You should ask additional questions to get the truth. Always open-ended questions. Always. Actually. When people use the word actually, this is a new word now. We're going to go a little bit into this. Actually. When people use the word actually, they are comparing two thoughts. Consider the following questioning and answers. Did you buy a new car? Actually, I bought a new truck. Instead of buying a new car, I actually bought a new truck. It's comparing two ideas. The person used the word actually in his answer because he was comparing buying a new car with buying a new truck. The interviewer asked if he bought a car, and he responded that he had bought a truck. The majority of the time when a person uses the word actually, we can see the majority of the time. The majority. That could be 99, could be 51. A majority of the time when a person uses the word actually, we can see what two things he is comparing. When we are uncertain of the comparison, then we may have some undisclosed information. So if you don't know what the other comparison is, what the other side, it takes two things to compare, at least. If you don't know what one of the comparisons is, there's undisclosed information there typically. They're telling you there's more, but not wanting to tell you. They're only alluding to it by way of the verbiage actually. This occurs when the word actually is used, even though nothing has been preferred by the interviewer as seen in the following exchange. Question: what did you do last night? Actually, I went to the movies. There's only one thing you know about the movies. Actually suggests you thought about doing something different, or more probable, he did do something different. That's days in the analog. Digital, it's gonna be a little more difficult to say you was at the movies if you wasn't. There's cameras every fucking where. Now, actually, that alludes to you that there was another thing they thought about maybe doing or actually did. In this question, the interviewer has not suggested anything the person might have done. Like, did you go to the racetrack or to the movies? Well, actually, we went to the movies. Comparing, right? You didn't have that. You got a ghost comparison in there, right? He simply asked him what he did last night. Therefore, the subject should have answered, I went to the movies. Or, I just went to the movies. You get it? The use of the word actually tells us the person is comparing going to the movies with something else. That something else is information the interviewer probably wants. The person may be thinking about something he wanted to do instead of going to the movies. So you'd say, okay, well, what were you thinking about doing instead of the movies? Or did you have any other plans? Did you stop anywhere before you went to the movies? Perhaps he wanted to stay home and watch television, but his wife dragged him to the movies. Or it could be that he did not go to the movies and he is thinking about what he did do that night. In either scenario, we have some undisclosed information that is brought to light by the use of the word actually.
Around there.
In the woods?
Yeah, in the woods, anything, going in the woods. Is she a wood person? I know she's a fishing person.
No.
But is she a wood person?
No.
Okay. You see, she was scared to death of those woods for some reason. I thought she was playing a game on that. I didn't know.
Well, she is not a wood person. She doesn't really, she's
Yeah.
scared of snakes. She's honestly scared of it. She doesn't know what the shit is.
Yeah.
She don't
Talking about
it's just,
the dispatch. The dispatch says parents called and said that mom went for a walk. What can it say? I never go for walks. I'm scared of bears, coyotes, snakes. I never go for walks. Never. And then actually get spotted at about 4:30 coming off of Fred's property. So never means I did go for a walk that day.
like, what's that? And should I kill this? And what the fuck's this? And the kids were also, except for boys, I mean, but they were all kind of like, but they did. I mean, they gravitate like children do towards more.
Right. Little boys. Yeah, they do. So let me ask you a question. During this time, I've heard this timeline, and this barrel. Remember the barrel, the one where Summer's in the
Barrel came from Madison Parkway, and it already had that shit spray painted on it because it was the one out of a bundle of red barrels that the guy has for sale. I can show you the house it came from. I know where that barrel came from, but it was the one he had it spray painted on to sell the rest of the fucking barrels. So he had to keep going out there and putting up a damn sign.
So that was just a coincidence that it just said for sale on it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So even if it was a coincidence.
The barrels is on all of our ways home. Dawn would have seen it. Plus, we all have barrels and shit. We burn in them. We collect rainwater, put liners in them. We do all kinds of things.
Plus, additionally, we right? She can back his story up by saying, plus, I know about it.
Right. Okay. I know the kind. You get the first rainwater out of it. I know you put the liner in it and you drain from that. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Hell, I knew about that shit.
The liner in it, but yeah, it was nothing nefarious about the fucking barrel.
No, okay.
Last thing.
So, do you know exactly when that photo was taken?
It was a video of summer dancing.
And it was screenshotted off the video, right?
Well, they have a still picture of it, but I think the video was not taken, but a few days before summer dancing.
Whoa, a few days, 2 days before, probably, right?
A few days, I don't know. And I know
Few days. Jose Roman claims to have taken that video. Couldn't have been a few days. Jody. The shame of it is that Ernie doesn't know, clearly. And here you are lying to him. He'll never get it. He refuses to listen to us, but he'll listen to you.
Dudley was over there when the photo was taken, the video. Dudley was there, right?
Yeah, he has yellow upstairs in the background, I believe.
Okay. That's what I thought. So it did rain 2 days prior. I think it was 2 days prior because I said something about the rain. Somebody said, no, it did not rain. Yes, it did rain.
It did fucking rain down there. It did too, and it helped wash away bear prints and stuff. It absolutely did fucking rain. That's why there was enough water collected on the left side of the creek.
Washed away the bear prints. That's sort of the same kind of shit that dickhead Pruitt wants you to believe, right? Maybe some wildlife activity, right? Like when you think of the physics, like 100-pound black bear is like a big one. Now you put a 40-pound child in its mouth and the physics is not going to allow that bear to walk forever carrying the child without setting it down, leaving a blood trail. So now we got Jody alluding to a bear.
It absolutely did fucking rain. Not long.
Because when it rains, it helps build that creek up that she supposedly went to, right?
And all that stuff.
Exactly.
But it was stagnant. When I walked through it, there was parts of it that had, even though it had risen, it had enough time to settle again. And so all the stagnation did, where they dammed it up, it was still stuck in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was walking through all this, it was stagnant, had, growth on top of it.
So is it true that CPS was supposed to visit 2 days after the summer went missing? And they knew that. They knew that prior.
The next day or something is what the rumor is, but all I'm going to say is that CPS was already around, already involved, because during the land sale stuff, Candace would be messaging me going, is that, this, or who the fuck are these people parked down there? I'd message her. I'm like, is that DCS, or is this, who the fuck is down here at the bottom, And that's when we figured out the whole land, all this stuff for weeks prior.
Jody could see people at the bottom of the hill. One way or another, God willing, she could see it.
Anderson DCS was already involved for weeks.
Did Don ever make visits to these little hotels? They call them open in-house hotels, and have sexual affairs with other victims?
I don't know the term other victims, like,
when I say hotel, when I say these open-in hotels and extended stay hotels, like a lot of child predators and child traffickers like to use.
I just know he got knocks on other places on his vendors here and there, and I don't know what kind of hotels he stayed at. I don't know, and other things are just, I found, but I mean, I don't know. Hell, and the main thing is, Don didn't have to do it. Hell, he would cheat out in the open anyway,
Well, yeah, I mean,
and did weird shit. Hell, he did it right there at the house with the kids in the fucking house. So,
and the kids also.
Mm-hmm.
How could you know that? You seem to know an awful lot about the extreme inside of a whole bunch of shit. Duly noted.
It's also right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Did Selma really ever have a chance?
Yeah. And I really, honestly, same thing I told law enforcement, because they asked.
Honestly.
Had it been 2 years?
I really want you to believe me. I'm being honest with you right now. Honestly. To me, when I hear that shit, it means, you're honest now. What have you been before? dishonest?
Prior to this, I would have told you no. But I really thought things were getting better. But then as it comes into view and everything kind of becomes clear to you and you stop and think, the changes that were taking place that we were seeing that we thought meant things were getting better, actually, like, I think it's semi-correlated with Grandis in there.
It actually semi-correlated with Grandis being there. I thought it was getting better, but actually it was getting worse because Grandis was there. Actually. Okay? You see the real time comparison? I thought it was getting better, but actually it was getting worse. Semi-correlated to Grandis being there.
Like, things were a lot calmer in ways that Grandis was there, I guess. And also, you know, there's all kinds of things there that are just outbound and topics for me, but there's definitely less of the a whole lot of things when Grandis was present. And so I think Grandis was actually the change, but I wrongly attribute it to Summer getting
actually the change. First, she's what she semi-correlates to it being worse. But then as she works it out in her mind, I actually think she's the reason it got better. The comparisons, right? So never means not ever. And actually means comparison. That's the takeaway. Never and actually. Not ever and actually, the majority of the time, constitutes a comparison. If you do not know one of the comparisons, there's undisclosed information. Are we on the baseline now?
There's definitely less of a whole lot of things when Grandis was present. And so I think Grandis was actually the change, but I wrongly attributed it to Summer getting bigger and wrapping Dawn around her finger, because I promise you she did have Dawn wrapped around her little finger, and wherever Dawn was, Summer was. And he very much paid attention to her, doted over her, and she was not happy unless she was Dawn. And, you know, it's just...
I mean, I guess that with that logic, whatever you claim you saw in the shower, you got to make that make sense, because I think that the child would probably, a majority of the time, want to avoid contact with their abuser at all costs. Not want to be doted over by their abuser. You follow me? Actually not doted over.
Question. So, do you believe that what came out about when Dawn would take showers with Summer?
Yeah. And because I've said it, and so have others. We all, like, you know, I didn't know about it until right before she vanished. Like, I never asked.
No, when you say right before she vanished,
I said you saw it. Now you sounded like you didn't see it.
Vanish is a term that, you know, something just vanishes in thin air. That's not the case with Summer Wells, though.
Answers, that's all you can really say. She's gone. Somebody is responsible for it. But she, you know, she's been taken. Somebody is responsible for this, because she didn't walk off into the goddamn woods like Winnie the Pooh.
How do you know? The sheriff said it's the very real possibility she wandered away from her home and became lost in the mountainous terrain surrounding her house. How do you know she was taken? The sheriff doesn't know she was taken. And I find it strange that a bunch of you motherfuckers, y'all are suspects of the wandering away. How the fuck can somebody be responsible for some shit that wanders away? If your dog runs away, how are you responsible? I guess if you left the cage open, or if you was beating on it, probably are some things that could allude to that, right? But that's not what you're stating. You're stating that she's being doted over. He's at her beck and call. She's got him wrapped around her little finger.
Somebody is responsible for this, but until we know who and how, you know,
So
what do we really call it? And
Well, until we know the when and how, we'll just blame you. How's that? I feel pretty comfortable with just blaming you.
he did take showers.
I mean,
Yes,
like,
Ernie. Most men do. Well, I think you might be the only one that doesn't, other than Roger Brown, for fuck's sake.
you know, right before she vanished. But the thing is like, well, you know, you excuse it because they're a little bit more based, they're a little bit more heel type, and you think, oh, well, whatever. But then you're also like, a little old for that, but okay. You know, and I'll leave it
Old for that.
Here it hit back up, but I know that it was one of the two heavier vehicles over there. Also, I know Candace or Grandis at, you know, what
Hotels and extended stay hotels, like a lot of child predators and child traffickers like you.
project, you know, say, well, somebody's guilty because this isn't something I did.
I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm simply calling him a predator.
Well, he's obviously a predator of some variety. I mean, we know he, you know, by his own admission to me, he's done that to at least one of his sisters. You know,
At least one of his sisters. I mean, that's, yeah, he's admitted that. He admitted that.
some of his other habits, especially while intoxicated, are like, cringe. He's obviously an abuser, just like he knows Monster is an abuser. They're both like that. Therefore, they're both predators. Both like, you know, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So-
I know what you're saying. So when you refer to monsters, are you referring to some particular person as a predator?
I'm talking about our particular abuser. You know, I'm just rather not use their name. But you get what I'm saying? Like, you know, there's all kinds of predators, you know what I'm saying? And I understand he's done it to his sister by his own admission. I understand it.
You know what's strange?
All these things.
She always tries to hide. She always tries to hide who the abuser is. If you're going to be so adamant about the abuser, why are you not saying his name? So the shit is just recorded everywhere. Andy. Because now when you say Voldemort or Monster, people don't know who you're talking about. Some people don't know. Why are you still holding up for him? Because that's a way to hold up for him. You would call him by his name if you wanted everybody to know he was an abuser. You wouldn't come up with some fucking nickname for him.
That those things are true, but that doesn't mean that he did something to Summer. It doesn't.
But what's the coincidences of that?
I don't know.
I mean, would you say that it was slim? I mean, if you have someone, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything like that, but just hear me out. If you have someone who sexually abuses this one, he sexually abuses his sister, he's doing all this other stuff, he's a predator, and he, you know, his actions speak.
To accuse him of doing something to Summer or of being responsible for June 15th and her vanishing.
I just have a problem with the June 15th.
Okay, well, think if
The timeline. I mean, yours fits better than what I've heard. I'll be honest with you. Your timeline does fit better than what I've heard. I've heard 17 different timelines. And that's one thing that threw me plumb off. I was like,
No, you haven't.
when?
No, you haven't. Shit like this that props her up.
This is exactly what I said. When the main eyewitnesses, the people, the eyewitnesses, and the suspects are one and the same, there is no leads. That's criminology. That's prison tactics. That's jail tactics. Everybody knows that when you have a suspect and you have a witness, and if they're the same people, there's no leads. It's called a what? Dead end. That's what this is all set up to be anyways. I think it was premeditated. I think it was planned ahead of time. I think it was all set for everybody not to be there and be in place. Whether there was a handoff or not, I think there's something.
one of my puzzles and theories is that something was done on purpose and that they expected people to say, like with our monster, people expected him to be on time from work, just like I did, right? but often he wasn't because he was too busy doing things next door to work. But the thing is they expected him like with that day to be in by 6. So everything's trying to, and then there are other neighbors that come in at certain times, and I think there's a possibility that somebody knew all these things, and then we'd all be kind of outside at certain times of the day or waiting on certain people.
She trying to put Fred somewhere. Fred. Other neighbors coming in and out, quite naturally. Other people live there. But you're specifically saying one person. Fred. Fred knows too much. And the police believe him. They made the expenditure to put the wire on him. You got no time to waste. You put a wire on where you think you're going to get the fucking answers immediately. How you think he ended up over y'all's property? You heard him say it on the internet. Fred Hill led him to y'all's property. Why? And how did y'all find out? Did they come over and ask you to search property that's not even in your name? Seems like they'd have went over and asked George and Polly. So did George and Polly tip you off? Like, say, man, y'all got to go get rid of the dope. They're on the way. Or did you just assume because of your involvement in this, they was going to go to that other property? But you knew they was going to that other property. How? Because let me tell you this. On the news, for the longest time, they was telling folks, go ahead and clear your own property. If you're physically able, go clear your own property. The elderlies, they could call in and somebody would come clear it for them. All you would have had to have done is say, it's all clear. And they put the big red X on your shit. Oh no. They wanted to come search y'all shit because your word wasn't going to be enough. And you knew. I'm guessing legally, Andy cannot consent. Andy cannot consent to search to his parents' property. If they go after accepting Andy's consent of search and they find some shit, ay chingado, Bovracito, what you got is the illegal search and seizure. Illegal search and seizure. They got to go through the correct appropriations in order to even get on that property. That property on the GIS is in George and Polly's name, not Andy and Jody Stools. They cannot legally consent to search. So they either got a search warrant or George and Polly consented. Facts, hands down. Can't be no other two ways about it. What do you do to constitute a search? What constitutes a search? Probable cause. Probable cause constitutes a search. It's the thing that you have to have in order to even ask for the consent. Got to have probable cause. Definitely got to have probable cause to go to the fucking judge and get you a search warrant. If there's no consent, no verbal consent, no sign on the line, they go into the judge. The judge is going to demand probable cause. Now, either way, for them to want to come search your property to the extent that you got to burn shit on said property means they was coming either way. You lost the option to call in and say, man, We cleared our own shit. You lost that opportunity. They was coming. Which tells me it was some probable cause. I don't know what constituted probable cause. Something did.
Therefore, we would be quote witnesses. You get what I'm saying? Like almost like a setup.
Right. I understand that. I understand that.
I think that could be a possibility. I think other times, well, that's also the time to think about it. If somebody takes Summer, you know, like even a stranger, whatever, if they've been watching her or timing when all of us are coming and going. Of course, most people get home or around home anywhere between like 5 to 6 o'clock in the evening, because down there it takes you a little bit. Everybody knows it's going to take you a little bit to get there from whatever job.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows, for the most part, the only lazy motherfucker around them parts that don't work is that bitch right there. She's going to be the one. When everybody else has some business, this bitch right here, she ain't got no business. Her business is everybody else's business. This one right here.
If you're working, you know, Eastman, Hardee's, Walmart, doesn't matter, right? So you put most people getting home in Beach Creek around a certain time in the evening, and therefore, if you're going to kidnap or harm a little, you're going to have to do it within a certain amount of time. So they're trying to be in and out of everybody at the same time too. So it could just be a coincidence.
So there's right? Like a drive-through time. There's a drive-through time out there. Everybody knows when the correct time to snatch a child is. Everybody knows. It's the correct time. We know what time it is, but it's the correct time. Got to be there at the correct time. Somebody got there at the perfect fucking time, didn't they, Jody? Or what the fucking sheriff is saying is a lie, because the sheriff said it's the very real possibility she wandered away from her home and became lost in the mountainous terrain surrounding her home. Jody knows best. Jody knows. If she, guess what, a smart motherfucker, a smart one, you don't have no opinion against the police. No. Especially when you're the suspect. You don't have no opinion against the police. You say, yeah, whatever they say. Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. Because if what they're saying is keeping me out of jail for today and tomorrow and yesterday, I'm cool with it. Oh, yeah. The only person that says it's something more than what the police says it is, you can only know that if you know that. She clearly, once she's been screaming to all of us, she knows it. Okay, so you know. I believe you.
You know, and a predator watching and waiting to take her.
But that's usually not how predators work. Predators work on instinct. They're like sharks. They're like sharks with blood in the water when it's first instinct. They go off on their own.
Yeah, because they're just operating on instinct all over the fucking internet, Ernie.
On their own mind. They don't sit and wait, because most predators are afraid to get caught. And here's the fact of the matter is, a predator don't just sit and wait. They'll sit and wait in disguise, but there's no way to disguise yourself on that hill. Anybody would see somebody waiting. So I say it was a planned attack.
Oh, it is a way to disguise yourself on that fucking hill. Disguise yourself as a neighbor. Fuck you talking about? Disguise yourself as a neighbor. A helping hand. The mayor. The self-elected, self-appointed mayor of the whole situation shit. That's right. Yeah. This one here, this Scott H. homegirl. He believes everything she says. That's right.
It was planned. It was planned that she was taken. That's my version of it. I mean, anybody else have any version? A predator just went in the area and sat there on that hill and watched for 2 or 3 hours. He had to play or whatever the hell and wait for a moment to go, because they'd have to know. First off, they'd have to know the terrain. They'd have to know the time schedules of everything. Everybody has the clock, Jody. If you get up at 9 o'clock in the morning, hold on a second. If you get up at 9 o'clock in the morning every day, then you have to have coffee. Then you have to have coffee at 9 o'clock in the morning. Everybody has what we call a repetitious timeline. Everybody has it. That's how a lot of people get caught.
No, they really don't. But here's the thing, Ernie. There's all kinds and varieties of predators, okay? Then on top of that, you're discounting the fact that
Well, so tell me about that, the variety. I've never heard. Okay, so variety. Tell me about that. I want to learn more about that. Please tell me, please.
all kinds of different predators that do all kinds of things for different reasons, and they all stalk and hunt in different ways. And some just do go off spur of the moment type of shit, right? They see an opportunity. They're opportunists, more like scavengers and hunters, and others actually do hunt and prey. And they come up with plans, and that's part of what they get off on is the planning and the plotting and the watching and, you know, all of that.
I don't know what they do because I'm not one of them. I loosely know what a fish does. It swims. I loosely know what a bird does. It flies. I loosely know what a cow does. It moves. And I loosely know what a horse does. It heaves. I don't loosely know what predators do. I don't. It's only one way to know. Unless you are one. Otherwise, you're trying to figure it out. These two got it all figured out. They know how they hunt. They know when they hunt. They know when is the perfect time. And guess what they also else know? They also know how to pick the perfect family. Oh, yeah. They could look at a family and say, they'd be perfect representatives of the perfect storm. It'd be the perfect family to set up with no evidence. You got to know what you're looking for to be able to identify. Right? You hunt a particular kind of game, you got to know how to identify it. Otherwise, you get caught.
And seeing unknown, whatever. But here's the thing, Ernie, you're just counting the fact that there are dozens and dozens of people, you know, coming and going for this property sale that are out of state. You also have
Hold on, wait. I was counting on the fact that you would do just like you just did. You just explained to me every single type of predator about it there was. Now, my question to you is, who taught you that? How did you know?
Well, Ernie, I'm pretty well educated.
But where'd you learn that at? Where'd you learn that at?
What do you mean? Where did I learn?
Where did you learn that at? That ain't taught in education purposes. That ain't taught like that.
What do you mean? What do you mean? He's saying, he's asking you, how do you know what a predator does? How can you know? Who taught you that? That man off of Dateline taught you all that shit? You need to put some of this shit to use. You know so fucking much. How come you ain't stopping some of this shit?
That preterism is not even taught. That class, you pretty much just taught me a class just now, but where did you learn that at? How did you know that there were certain types of this that get off on these certain planets of this?
Nothing like experience. Ain't that right, Sue? Nothing like experience. Experience reigns supreme. Over a degree, experience. You know. In fact, she says everybody knows. Everybody knows what to do when something like this happens in the holler. Go to the water. I should poll the people in my neighborhood and say, do we all know what we're supposed to do if a child goes missing? You don't really know water around my place, so what am I going to do? What am I going to run towards? I got no creek. So that's the only way, right?
You see, the only experience of someone of that nature could even say that back to me and reply it that way.
I've been around with predators, Ernie, and because I've been around enough in my lifetime, I just spent 3 decades almost with one that is so monstrous you all can't believe it.
Fucking daddy's a baby raper too. Why she don't say that? Why don't she say, hell, my daddy's a baby raper? Why doesn't she actually tell them how she knows? she's just going to tell you that she just knows. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Now we're turning around and trying to use it to further abuse me and my children in Tragedy Pentville. And the mask is good, the cornbread's good, and it's not fun for us because you all have no idea how bad that was.
She's finna cry in the
That's
car.
it.
Now, did you see how quickly she always turns it around? There's no mucus. There's no tears. Not really any change in the breathing. It's a faux cry. Right? It's like a faux hog. Right? So we've got never. Substitute for no or not ever. Right? If they say the word never in the right context, what does it mean? It means they probably did. Actually, a majority of the time is a comparison. If you do not have one of the precursor comparisons, you have undisclosed information. If you have undisclosed information, what do? You ask open-ended questions. You probe. Now, I'm going to move forward. One more word. With. The word with in any sentence represents distance. You're with something. Meaning at the same locale as something else you're describing, right? You're with it. It describes distance, proximity. When you see this word, you will see something mentioned before the word and something mentioned after the word. The word with keeps them apart. People will sometimes reveal their true feelings when they use this word. One Christmas season, I asked a friend what he did over the weekend. He replied, "I went Christmas shopping with my wife." Told my friend that he did not want to go shopping, and he confirmed my suspicion. The reason I knew he was dragged along on that Christmas shopping spree is because he used the unique word with. What's another way to say that? My wife and I went shopping. We went shopping. The family went shopping. I went shopping with my wife. Look again at his statement. I went shopping with my wife. Look at the words I and wife. At where they're located. I and wife are located within the sentence. They are far away as you can get. I, in the beginning, went shopping with my wife. She's at the very end. He's in the beginning. She's in the end. Completely separated, right? They are as far away as you can get. Because he did not want to go shopping, he unknowingly placed himself at the beginning of the sentence and his wife at the end. Appropriate English language is my wife and I went shopping. The wife and I went shopping. The ex-wife and I went shopping. Not I went shopping with my wife. Anytime you're speaking about yourself and someone else, appropriate English language tells you to place them before yourself. It's the courtesy. He unknowingly placed himself at the beginning of the sentence and his wife at the end of the sentence. He said, my wife and I went Christmas shopping. That would be a whole different meaning. In that sentence, the words wife and I are right next to each other. My wife and I. Only thing separating them is and. In that sentence, the word wife and I are right next to each other. The word and connects the two of them. With is proximity. When the word and connects the two of them. This would indicate he is a willing participant. When I asked my friend what he did over the weekend, he did not think about how he should phrase his answer. He simply answered the question based on how he felt. The information that a person does not want to share will influence how he phrases the statement. I once analyzed a statement written by a husband whose wife died in an automobile accident. The husband stated that he and his wife were in the car driving to a restaurant to get breakfast. He was driving and she was seated in the passenger seat. Before they arrived at their destination, he had to go to the bathroom. He pulled over his car onto the side of the road and got out to relieve himself in the bushes. The only problem was he did not turn off the car's engine. He forgot to put the car in park. Once he stepped out of the vehicle, continued to move forward and went over a cliff into a ravine. His wife was killed in this so-called accident. When I looked at his statement, I noticed a problem with the very first sentence. The husband wrote that on a Saturday morning, I was with my wife, Kathy, and we were going to have breakfast in Jacksonville. The husband created distance between himself and his wife by using the word with. We would expect him to say, Kathy and I were going to breakfast, and connecting Kathy and himself being I. Kathy and I were going to breakfast. By using the word with, he was unknowingly telling us there was a problem with their relationship. It does not mean he was going to kill her. It does not mean they were going to get a divorce. However, his language absolutely means that there was some discontent that morning. This is an important clue when we are investigating a suspicious accident that resulted in a death. As I continued to read the statement, I saw other signs of deception that made it very clear this was no accident. The husband purposefully did not put the car in park, and he exited the vehicle, allowing it to roll over the cliff. The jury also saw through his deception.
I've been around all kinds, Ernie, of monsters and predators. But on top of that, from the time I was very little, I've studied psychology for funsies, and I have educated myself beyond what,
Okay. So you educate. Okay, you educate yourself through experience and through endearment. Now, here's the thing, though. Jody. See, let me ask you a question. If you have one place to think where summer would be at, what would you say? I'll talk to you here right off the bat.
Me, if she's still here in the area.
Why would you say she's in the area? I said anywhere.
Yeah, I'm saying if she's here and in the area.
Okay.
And it was maybe over on the 15th. I would say that she's somewhere, probably in the woods, probably in one of the less eyeballs, somewhere in the woods between Ben Hill and Bayleton. That would be my guess.
But you,
Bayleton. Bayleton's to the left when you pull out of Ben Hill onto Beach Creek. Bayleton is where Andy and Jody Stool tried to send Jackie Dobbs the night of the 14th. Bayleton. Depending on how you drive, you get there about 16 to 20 minutes. It's about the same distance to Kingsport. if you were to go right?
The woods was out of the question, though.
I
On the
mean,
property, right? On the property.
yeah, on the property. She's not on those properties. She's not inside Ben Hill.
So you think somebody's done away with her?
I mean, that's obviously a
She's not on the property. How could she know that? She actually can't know that. Even with all the technology, she cannot know where the child is at unless she knows where the child is at.
possibility, Ernie. And if she's alive, I don't know where she is.
But why would automatically, see, for me, I can't give up hope on a child's life. I never could. It's hard.
I mean, I've stood here since the day and watched everybody else give up hope on her immediately before even dark and say she was dead and talk about her in past tense. And I was the only one that told all of these people just to wait, to give her a chance. It's only been a couple hours, just to wait, give her a fucking chance because she might be able to get away. And we all knew she could run and fly like the wind.
Give her a couple hours. Maybe she could get away. David Rader said when he was in the command center, they thought there was a theory that she could have been released the night of the 15th back into the woods. It's what he said. Now, is that the adaptation and adoption of someone else's information into what she thinks? Probably. But the issue with that is this. The issue with that is that you're saying just give her a couple of hours. Okay. It'd be like the other time she went missing, right? You just gave her a little time and she popped up. No dog, no committing the dogs, helicopters, agents, creepy crawlies. None of that shit, right? Which one is it? Because you've now made it both. Thank you for this, Sage. This is a beautiful segment right here.
Give her a fucking chance. So I've not given up hope on Summer at all. I do not think that she's dead. I think there's a very good chance she's out there somewhere alive. But every day, every minute that passes, cannot be.
Okay, so you say you think she's alive right now? You think she's alive?
I think there's a good possibility.
A good possibility. So let me ask you a question. Why automatically say if she's around the area? I didn't say around the area. Where would you think she's at? Anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world right now. Where would you think she's at? Anywhere.
And there's two options. She's alive, and I don't know where the hell she's at. Somewhere around the world. Or if it ended, chances are, it would have probably ended on the 15th, like others speculated before fucking dark, and I didn't take well to. And, I would say that she's somewhere, between Ben Hill and Bayleton or so. But there's other things in there you got to think that, we all kind of know and things that y'all don't, but make certain things a possibility. Oh dear. Hey, Cotton Candy, here's a news flash. All children sometimes be brats. Wow.
Well, if you have any information about Summer Wells, she went missing on the afternoon, June 15th, 2021, from the Rogersville, Kingsport area, more specifically Ben Hill Road. If you have any information about Summer Wells' disappearance, say she was 3 foot tall, 40 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyes. If you have any information, call 1-800-TBI-FINE. Again, that number is 1-800-TBI-FINE. If you'd rather submit your tip via email, you can submit your tip to tips to TBI at tn.gov. That's tips to TBI at tn.gov. I also still have a standing $10,000 cash reward for any information that is turned over to the police that results in finding Summer Wells. It's better than no thousands. Cash. I'll bring it to you. Shake your hand. Thank you for your service. Anyways, this evening, never as a substitute for no means not ever. If the word never is used out of context, you got an issue majority of the time. Actually, a majority of the time suggests a comparison. If you do not have one of the precursor comparisons, there is undisclosed information, which means you need to probe deeper. And with suggests a disconnect, or it suggests distance. We covered it. Shit. Mr. Wells, how you doing, sir? You're welcome, sir. My number's still the same. Nothing changed, sir. Nothing's changed. It's all the same. Come the end of January, I'll be around there, man. Hit me up. We won't stop, Don. We will never stop looking for your daughter, ever. I apologize about some of the things you may have heard. I know you know what it looks like, Donnie. I know you know what it looks like. It's all fucked up, bro. We didn't create the fucked up, man. There's a whole bunch of us still here after all this time, Donnie, man. It's a lot of things that happened while you were away, man. It was things with the phones. It was a lot of things, Donnie. It was a lot of things, Donnie, that made it real hard to stick in there, bro. A lot of things, man. And it's the thing, Donnie, man. If we didn't care about your daughter, we wouldn't care about things like the phone coming back in a plastic bag and the conversation that I had with the Sandman, bro, about the phones, and like there wasn't nothing I could do, bro. I'm so glad you're out, bro. Man, I'm glad you're out, Donnie. Man, look. I know if my son went missing and you were on the hunt for him, and I know it's going to be things that's going to be said and done. It's going to make it hard to smile. I know. Bro, it's the right color. Donnie, bro, I forgive your wife. She told Ernie she thought I took your daughter, bro. You know I didn't take your beautiful son, bro. And I know Candace doesn't think that either. There's just a lot of things, bro. The number is still the same, Donnie. 214-624-2898. It ain't changed, bro. Y'all are one of the reasons I still got this number, because I got this other number that not a lot of people got. Hang in there, bro. I want to thank everybody for making it out tonight, man. But God has a very strange sense of humor. Anyways, remember, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. You know I love you, bro. It's more to it, man. It's more to it than this internet shit, bro. It's a lot more to it than this internet shit, Donnie. It's a lot more to it. Man, look. Bro, me and you have talked. I'm going through a divorce, bro. And you want to know what? A lot of that divorce has to come from the time I professed and the time I put into this. Man, look. Love the shit out of that woman. You know that. A lot of people gave up a lot of stuff to still be here, right here today, Donnie. A lot of people, man. Guess what? A lot of people say a lot of shit about people making money on the internet and all that other fuck shit. Let me tell you what, man. No internet money could never give me back what I lost. No internet money, bro. Donnie, look here. You remember that? That's the flyer you gave me at the hotel. That's the same flyer you gave me 1 year ago, 13 months ago. It's the same flyer right there, bro. I won't take it down. It's the same tape. Did you, Don? Bro, ain't shit changed. Nothing has changed but the date. Man, look, findsummerwells.com. Nothing changed, bro. Nothing. You need anything, bro, hit me up. I love all of y'all individuals. Remember, the absence of evidence, not the evidence of absence. Jody. Never actually with.